Okay, let's jump right into this explainer. We're not looking at a construction site today as just some place with a dusty binder full of rules. Nope, we're looking at it as a living, breathing organism. Today, our main focus is on how one safe site acts. It's all about viewing safety not as a passive list of don'ts, but as a continuous, ingrained series of active behaviors you absolutely must do. Because when things go sideways, and they definitely do, it's these automatic actions that literally mean the difference between life and death for a crew.
To get us there, here's our roadmap for today. We'll be hitting the blueprint of preparedness, finding your first aid, reacting to the unexpected, breaking the fire triangle, tools to fight flames, and finally, the hot work defense. Let's kick things off with Section 1, the blueprint of preparedness.
See, a truly safe site doesn't just sit around waiting for an accident to happen. It anticipates it. It builds a rock-solid foundation long before the first power tool even gets plugged in. Enter the ERP, or Emergency Response Plan. Think of this as the actual brain of the site. It's a site-specific plan that lays out exactly how everyone behaves when things go wrong, whether that's a specific task hazard like a confined space issue or a massive natural disaster like an earthquake. And what's wild about a really thorough ERP is that it accounts for the aftermath too. A safe site operates knowing that in a major disaster, workers might actually need care and shelter for, 24 to 72 hours before outside help can even get to them. It's all about complete, active foresight.
Moving right along to Section 2, finding your first aid. How a safe site takes care of its own really boils down to personal responsibility. These are the immediate, proactive steps you've got to take the second you step onto a new site. One safe site acts by making sure every single worker knows exactly how to summon the fully certified first aid attendant when seconds count. Look, you don't wait for a nasty cut to start asking around for a Band-Aid. You actively locate the attendant. You find out where the medical gear is stashed, and you learn the exact communication methods. Maybe it's a specific cell number, a dedicated radio channel, or even audio codes for an air horn. Your site orientation gives you this info, but as an active participant, it's on you to lock it in your memory.
And here's the absolute kicker. A safe site never hides pain. Every single injury, I don't care how minor it seems, has to be reported instantly. It is such a common, dangerous trap to think, oh, it's just a tiny scrape, not worth the paperwork. But delaying that report, that's an active choice that usually makes the injury way worse, prolonging your recovery, and maybe even leading to serious medical treatments down the road. Reporting immediately means the certified attendant can handle it right then and there. And remember, while they manage your workplace care, they can never override your right to go see a doctor if you feel you need one.
Okay, on to Section 3, reacting to the unexpected.
So we really have to ask ourselves, how do we actively tell the difference between a minor hazard and a full-scale crisis? I mean, if someone leaves some clutter out and a supervisor stubs their toe, well, their pride is definitely hurt, but that's not exactly a site-wide emergency, right? A true emergency is an event where that ERP we talked about has to be activated instantly to prevent loss of life or catastrophic damage. We're talking about high-stakes situations here. Rescues from heights where a guy is dangling in a harness, confined space rescues, fires that are way too big for a handheld extinguisher, violent threats, or a sudden flood. These are the moments where one safe site acts with absolute unity, executing the plan without a second of hesitation. So, when that evacuation alarm actually sounds, what do? You safely put down your tools. Don't leave a saw running, obviously, but also don't waste time packing up your kit. You head straight to the muster station. This designated assembly area is absolutely vital because site management has to get a head count immediately. Rescue personnel need to know right away if anyone is missing, and if so, where they might be trapped. If you decide to just wander off to your truck or leave the site entirely, you are literally putting rescue workers' lives on the line because they will go into a dangerous area looking for you. Which brings us to Section 4, breaking the fire triangle. Now, the BC Fire Code mandates we understand how fire works. It needs 3 things to ignite and survive: oxygen, heat, and fuel. Break the triangle, stop the fire. It's that simple. Cooling it with water takes away the heat. Smothering it steals the oxygen. But honestly, the absolute best defense is preventing that triangle from ever forming in the first place by managing the fuel. Simple, everyday habits are what actively defend the site. Sweeping up sawdust and hauling away trash isn't just about making the site look pretty for the boss. No way. It is the active behavior of starving a potential fire of its fuel source. A safe site acts by flat out refusing to leave large piles of flammable junk lying around. All right, Section 5, Tools to Fight Flames.
So, what happens when prevention isn't quite enough and a small fire actually breaks out? Well, you have to know your tools. Class A is for ordinary stuff like wood, B is for flammable liquids like gas, C for electrical, D for combustible metals, and K for cooking oils. But check this out. Construction sites lean heavily on the versatile ABC dry chemical powder extinguisher. Why? Well, think about it. On an active site, you've got wood, diesel fuel, and live electrical tools all crammed into the same area. The ABC extinguisher blasts a fine powder that physically separates the fuel from the oxygen, stopping the chemical reaction across multiple classes of fire. It's a real game changer. And a safe site acts by visually inspecting these life-saving tools every single month.
But having the tool isn't enough. You need the reflex. To memorize how to use this thing when panic sets in, a safe site drills the pass method into its workforce. Pull the pin, aim low, right at the base of the fire where the fuel is, not at the dancing flames. Squeeze the lever, and sweep from side to side to completely smother it. Pass. It has to be a totally automatic behavior.
Finally, let's hit Section 6, the hot work defense.
Now, hot work isn't just massive industrial welding. We're talking grinding, soldering, cutting, literally anything that throws a spark or creates intense heat. And here is the truly terrifying part. It's rarely the big all-day welding jobs that burn a site to the ground. Nope. It's usually that quick 5-minute hot work job in an unprepared area. Someone thinks, oh, I'll just grind this one bolt real quick, and boom, they shoot a shower of sparks straight into a pile of sawdust.
To stop this, one safe site acts by always using a fire watch. This is the ultimate proactive behavior. The fire watch is a worker whose sole job, literally their only task, is to constantly watch for fire and sparks while the operator focuses on the work. They're the first line of defense. They deploy fire retardant blankets, wet down structures, and actively clear away combustibles long before that first spark ever flies. And guess what? The defense doesn't stop when the grinder powers down. A safe site never just walks away. You have to honor the 30-minute rule. You must wait and actively inspect the area for at least 30 minutes after the work is done. Why? Because sparks can skip, bounce, and smolder silently inside walls for a long time before they finally erupt into flames. Hanging back for those 30 minutes guarantees absolutely no smoldering sparks are left unchecked.
So as we wrap up this explainer on how one safe site acts, I want to leave you with this. Are you treating safety on your job as just a boring list of passive rules you nod along to in orientation, or are you treating them as active behaviors, knowing your first aid rep, drilling the pass method, sticking to the 30-minute rule? Because when an emergency hits, it's those daily habits that dictate survival. So ask yourself, on your absolute worst day, will your ingrained habits save your crew, or will your lack of preparation cost them everything?